Here's the big question. How do you create your most authentic, successful, and fulfilling life? The Fresh Blood podcast studies the stories of people over the age of 40 who are thriving in life, finding those core golden threads that connect the underlying successes, those universal truths. I'll be your host, Jolie Downs. Listen and learn from the stories of others to help you soar and live the life that you were meant to thrive in. Today, we are speaking with Mohan Ananda. Mohan is a serial entrepreneur and Renaissance man, having founded venture capital firm JAB Holdings Limited, Envestnet, which develops and distributes wealth management technology products, and Stamps.com, which he sold in an all-cash transaction for $6.6 billion. Mohan knows how to grow from zero to $1 billion. Now, not only this, in addition, Mohan is the chairman and CEO of Innovative International Acquisition Corp. He currently has 15 patents issued and pending. He was the primary architect in shaping the design and implementation of GPS for the U.S. Department of Defense, and he was instrumental in achieving interplanetary navigation to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, as well as contributing to the Viking, Pioneer, Voyager, and Mariner missions. And oh yes, he is also the author of the best-selling book, Autobiography of an Immigrant. I am really excited to learn more. Mohan, thank you for joining us on Fresh Blood. Please, could you tell us a little bit more about your story in getting to where you are today? And I know there's a lot to cover there.
Thanks, Jolie. You were very, very kind. I'm humbled by that very interesting introduction. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I came as an immigrant. I came from India many, many years ago as a student to here in Pasadena at California Institute of Technology. Then, obviously, since then, I have not gone outside of, living here in California for the last close to 54 or 55 years.
Great. So you like California, apparently. Now,
Californian more than many people.
I'm curious, what was that transition like for you? Because that is a really big change. I mean, what was it like for you to move to this new country and begin to acclimate?
Exactly. That's a very, very interesting question. I come from a remote village in a state of Kerala in India, which actually when I was growing up, we didn't have electricity.
Oh,
So
wow.
this is a small village, no electricity. You're learning from kerosene oil lights. That's the beginning.
Oh, wow. That's
But,
fascinating.
I'm not from a poor family.
Mhm.
I'm from a very, I would say upper middle class, feudalistic landowner family. But I was, obviously, just like many of the children in India those days, we were pampered, so did everything. Others do things for you. So I had that luxury.
Yeah.
But when I finished my early college, I was looking for opportunities outside India. Many Indians generally go to England because of the close relations between England. Used to rule India for 354 years. But I did not want to go to England, so I wanted to go something really exotic to the United States. But US at those days, it's not that easy to come. Very, very few people come to US from India. But the way to get here is to get admission into colleges.
Okay.
I applied for admission, and not only that, we cannot really take money. Even those who have money in India, it's extremely difficult to take money from India to US for education because they limited, like, you can only take $8 out of India.
Are you serious?
Almost like a joke.
I had no idea. That's crazy.
It is very. So the only way you can come here is by getting scholarship.
Wow.
So I applied to 5 schools, and so happened I got admission to all the schools I applied.
Great.
But Caltech being one of the most prestigious schools, and also in a very nice climate. So I chose and came here. That's how I.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. So you go to college and clearly you enjoy it because you stay. Now what happens through that time? And how did you, I'm just curious, what was the transition like for you? Was it fairly easy for you to do since it was college and there's so many people, or was it a big transition culture-wise to adjust to?
Yeah, transition culture was very difficult because I of course I come from a college in India with a very great kind of, I did well performance, so I was little thinking too much about myself when I came to the college
Hmm.
here. But then I realized I was nobody. I mean, compared to them, so I felt very challenging. Just to give
It's
you
the
a
college
small
kids dilemma.
scenario,
Yes.
at the, in the first class I was at Caltech, this professor is in solid mechanics. I didn't want to go into the detail. So he came he's a German background, nice, good looking, tall man. And we had about 60 students in the class sitting, but we don't know each other because
Hmm.
we're all new. It's a first class. So he started writing an equation on the board in tensor notation. I did not know what tensor notation was at the time. I mean, probably nobody knows.
I don't either.
So I kind of felt okay. So he wrote this generalized tensor notation, very important equation, and started discussing about it. So I was listening. It looks like totally French to me because I don't understand what is going on, and I was sweating, practically sweating, and I was looking around how the others are feeling.
Yeah.
They looked okay to me
Oh,
because they
feel you.
didn't feel. So then I knew something is wrong with me. So, but anyway, to make the story short, after the end of the class, I really recognized I think I have to do a lot of hard work
Hmm.
if I have to continue here. So
Hmm.
that was my beginning of the school. And so, of course, from a cultural point of view, it's something new.
Mm.
Everything is new.
Yeah.
In those days, we don't have access to phone.
Oh, wow.
I mean, the phone is, you have to book a trunk call to get to India, and the letter would take about 15 days to come. So it's very lonely. Let's put it
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So this is I'm talking about in 1967,
Yeah.
before any
Before all of
kind of.
all of our communication devices and whatnot. Yes.
And
Big difference.
the computer was very primitive,
Hmm.
very, very primitive. We have to, I don't know, you are too young, so you wouldn't know. We have to have this deck of cards. You have to put this big machine. You have to put it in the system, and it'll take like a day or two to get one
Crazy.
processing done. It was in a very, very, very primitive situation. So it was an interesting, but a very enjoyable from that point of view.
Oh, I can only imagine what an I mean, this just fascinates me because you're in this new country. You're not able to communicate with your family and friends very well. You're completely because going to college is a big deal in and of itself. You're in a new world. It's very unfamiliar. You're learning all of these new things. You're on all these new people, but not only that, you're also in a new country, different language. I mean, like, and all of things you're doing in another language. So it's just that next level up of everything.
Exactly. In addition to that, the people I started meeting with, like various faculty members, these are well known, very successful, I mean,
Mhm. Mhm.
amazingly important people. So that also, you are kind of coming from a very, very primitive background and working with this so called most intelligent people. So it was
Yes.
interesting,
Yeah.
but it was at the same time an amazing
Oh, I can
experience.
only imagine. Yes. So what brought you into your entrepreneurship? Because you've founded multiple companies now. Was it always in you? Did you always have that drive or did you fall into it? How did this happen?
I think I probably might have been innate in it,
Hmm.
but not really. I wanted to do something really exotic because that's the reason I come to United
Yeah.
States, not to make money.
Yeah.
I mean, not to create wealth. That was not, I wanted to really do something really innovative in the sense of science.
Hmm.
First, I took aeronautics.
Hmm.
From aeronautics, I went into astrodynamics, and from there, I went to astrophysics. So,
Okay.
basically looking outside the world,
Yeah.
universe.
So that's how you got involved with the GPS mapping the different planetary. So that came first.
That was that kind of was my real passion.
Got you.
I
Okay.
worked with Richard Feynman, one of the most prominent astrophysicists in the world, Nobel Prize winner. So I had the benefit of working with them. So I that kind of created certain interest in me. So I wanted to do some really, really uh, fundamental work.
Hmm.
That the interest.
Hmm.
So that I joined NASA at JPL. So I worked there for some years. Then I went to the DoD and started working, creating GPS. So those things happened, and that was I was fairly young.
Oh,
So
amazing. Really quick before you go on, because this is really big. Okay. You're fairly young and you're getting work in NASA, you're getting work at the DoD. How? What did you do? I mean, people want to know.
I have a PhD in
Yes.
astrophysics.
But you know what? There's other PhDs. So you know what? You're competing with other people. What do you think helped you get that job?
In many of these places, actually, I did not apply for the job.
Mhm.
I was recruited.
Got you. Be excellent in your work. They come for you.
That's because you write papers, you do things in a university environment, then they know you. I
Hmm.
mean, they meaning the people who hire people.
Yes.
They come to me and they said, "Would you like to come and talk to us and see whether you wanted to
Love
join
it.
our group?" And then obviously depending upon the project there. Like for example, when I was recruited for the very very early stages of GPS, there was GPS not even a piece of paper. They were thinking as a weapon system, and then they knew that I was in the planetary mission. I was one of the persons who initially, I could even call it, invented what is called optical navigation.
God.
What is optical navigation
That's
is,
insane.
for example, when you go to say planets, near
Mhm.
planets, Mars, Venus, you go when you launch a satellite, it goes into heliocentric orbit.
Okay.
Means you're launching it. Of course, it first gets into the Earth orbit. From then you make a correction, and it goes around the sun.
Okay.
And then it reaches this one. The satellite reaches near the planet you want to go, like Mars. Then you have to make a course correction, or what we call insertion maneuver. That means you have to correct it to go into the Mars orbit. So this is how satellites go to various.
That's fascinating.
This is all done through radiometric measurements, meaning you get radio signals
Mhm.
and you look at it, and then you analyze it and find where it is. In order to go someplace, you need to know where you are. Then only you can go somewhere
Yes.
else. So
This is
that
true in
is
life. Good in life.
exactly, but that's how it is done. And all the time they were looking at it from the radiometric measurements.
Mhm.
But what happens is, as you go farther and farther from the Earth, the radiometric measurements gives angular information. You
Okay.
know, it's all technology,
Okay.
but don't worry about it. But angle, the error in angle gets multiplied enormously by distance,
Okay.
because the angle multiplied by the distance
Hmm.
becomes actual distance. I mean, distance from Earth
Yes.
becomes the location error. So the location error is becoming more and more, because our at the time radiometric measurements had errors,
Hmm.
everything. So with my some thinking, I said, that's not the way to do the job. So because everything is measured from the center of the Earth,
Yeah.
but you really want going to Mars, so you should get measurements from the center of Mars. So you have to
Yes.
make the transition. And the way I did, see,
Oh,
every
interesting.
satellite had cameras. We have, that's the whole reason, taking pictures, right?
Hmm.
That's why why don't we use the camera as a measurement, taking the picture of the planet with regard to its satellites,
Mm.
or or its rim alone, because we know approximately where the Mars is, and as long as Mars, even if it is a wrong area, we want to get in relation to that center of the Mars. So what I did was creating these images and create a location determination based on the Mars-centric coordinates.
That's
So
incredible.
that's a translation from Earth-centric to, I mean, this is all technical, but that was an optical navigation tool I came up with, the software. So when it reaches near the Mars,
Hmm.
it takes these pictures and tell the system back down on Earth and say it can calculate the location more accurately than the radiometric. So when you make the insertion maneuvers, you will be more accurate, so you will not misfire and lose the satellite. So that was a great contribution I made. I mean, it's
Oh, that's
an
amazing. I mean, basically, if we ever do live on Mars, we can thank you for figuring out where it was.
now every mission to planetary system uses my system as
Amazing.
that's a
What does that
at
feel
its
like?
so that was very because of that reason. So when the GPS people are looking at it, so they knew I have a great kind of background
Hmm.
for navigation. So they brought me and to the team, and I became one of their key architects.
Awesome.
It's an interesting story, but I never really explained it this detail.
Oh, it's fascinating. I mean, I'm not a technical person, but I followed that. I'm fascinated. And there was, I mean, I didn't know how that worked. I mean, when I think of a launch, I always just think of this, it goes around the sun. I mean, very,
It
very
is
interesting.
when you launch a satellite, immediately it goes around Earth because that's how everything the
Yeah.
gravity Earth.
I mean, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, but then you have to make a escape, insertion to the go to the around sun because Earth goes around sun. Everything goes around the
Crazy.
sun.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yes. Then when you reach nearby a planet, in order to go around that planet, you have to make another insertion
Mhm.
maneuver, that another firing, and then if you do it right, it'll go. Otherwise, it'll go somewhere else. Then you'll never see it. So that's we have even lost some satellites
Oh,
like
yeah.
that, misfiring. That always
Oh, yeah.
happens.
Uh,
But I just want to let you know this is the so because of that kind of a background I have. So they wanted me to. They recruited
yeah, they
me.
recruited you in. Makes sense. Complete sense. So how long were you in this business and with the DoD, NASA?
I was around about 10 years at NASA and 10 years with DoD.
Okay.
So I had a 20-year of space
Hmm.
related kind of background.
Now, what brought you out of that industry? Like,
That,
what was the transition?
that is, I was in the last few years when I was working on GPS, I became the contact person for NATO countries for GPS is a weapon system.
Hmm.
GPS, even though it now everybody has GPS on the phone, but those days it's purely a weapon system,
Yeah.
and it has to be survivable because if you lose GPS, then the weapon has no value.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but anyway, those are all we have taken care of. I'm not going to go into that. But then I used to travel a lot to NATO countries. I mean, I used to travel so much. It became a little bit hard for my family. I have my working wife and small children. So that prompted me to some or other change my
Mm.
profession. So I went to law school. I finished law and became a lawyer.
I didn't even know. I didn't realize this actually. So, oh, in between it all, he's a lawyer. Okay, go on.
I lawyer meaning then you don't go that far.
Yeah.
You basically stay near home. So that's the reason I took. And also, I always liked because American. That real reason is I found out everybody who is in power in America is a lawyer. So I said, if you can't fight them,
Join them.
join.
Smart man.
So
Smart man. What kind of law did you go into?
I did that. I basically started as like a corporate lawyer.
Hmm.
I had, because of my technology background, I became more involved in the intellectual property
Mm.
things.
So was this kind of what led you into the starting of the companies, is seeing it all come together now? Okay. Now, I'm
So that
curious, did you enjoy the law profession?
law profession is because I, as a student, I was a good student,
Hmm.
by the way. I enjoyed the constitutional law.
Hmm.
The constitutional law is more, it's really intellectual.
Yeah.
You, of course, now you get all these Supreme Court decisions. So I might have analyzed all that. It's all constitutional law, even though from a practical point of view, constitutional law is not that, because, you either you're suing for a contract, or those who are in a criminal
Hmm.
law. And yeah, all these lawyers mostly do transactional things.
Hmm.
Constitutional law comes only when your rights are challenged.
Hmm.
You're right now,
Right
we
now.
are in the middle of this abortion area.
Yes.
I mean, this is going to,
So huge.
so all these things are, so that was my passion. I mean,
Hmm.
real, because of it's very intellectual.
Hmm.
But that people don't generally practice unless you go into universities and then you become a constitution law
Yeah.
professor. Then you go into those, represent institutions in the Supreme Court and things like that. I didn't do any of
Hmm.
those things, but I enjoyed. But that gave me some ideas that it's not the practice of law is interesting. It is now you create some companies
Hmm.
and make it or create wealth.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
my
So what was your first company? Which one was your first one?
okay. The first company. I mean, there are few small things I did,
Okay.
but something which didn't really successful, but major company is microsubstrates. Microsubstrates is again a very technology company in the integrated circuit or chip market.
Okay.
It's in substrate is the where the printed circuit
Hmm.
is. But that was my first company. I started, but then I worked with a company, and that lasted for 22
Wow.
years. Very a lot of people employed. So I mean, it did well, but that I couldn't take the company public
Hmm.
or exit in a profitable
Hmm.
manner, because what happened was as we grew, uh, there was other technology happening
Yes. Yeah.
and we didn't cope up with that. We were on a calcium arsenide background material, and the other technology came with plastics.
Okay.
That kind of so we had to exit after some
And you
time.
learned. You learned from the situation.
So I think I became very kind of a knowledgeable in
Yeah.
that very specific area.
Yeah. Okay. So you spent 20 plus years on this chip business, and you realize, you don't have the best exit strategy. How did you decide to go do something new? I mean, what happened there? Because at this point you have
No,
your choice.
it's not sequential.
Okay.
It's mostly many things are in parallel.
Yeah.
So I was while Microsoft, I was only on the board. I was not
Got you. Okay.
running
You're not full time
the.
there.
That is one thing I have
Hmm.
done. I have only taken responsible executive job for a very short time.
Mm.
Every company I started,
Hmm.
I had somebody else run, somebody else.
Hmm.
I sit on the board.
Hmm.
That's my kind of a no.
Yeah.
I-
Basically, you put in where your strength is, and then you let everyone else take over their
Because
strengths.
yes, I always tell there are three things for starting a company.
Hmm.
You need to know the concept
Hmm.
or the whether it is a product or a service or a product as a service, whatever that you need to know.
Yeah.
Then you need to have a team,
Hmm.
the people, because it's not a one man's job.
Yes.
It's the right team, and the third is the right capital. So you
Right.
need all these three things together. And I accepted stamps. I was not really CEO of any company.
Hmm.
Stamps, I did stay there for about 3 years. Then I found another CEO, and then I, was more like an executive chairman
Hmm.
and continued. So my job has been more on a looking from a much higher and down and helping and mentoring rather than running it.
Smart.
I mean, so that just the way. Even the current position I'm is, of course, is a CEO and a chairman of this my SPAC,
Hmm.
but the operational most of done with my people, those who work with me.
Oh, I love that though, because it allows you to open up and focus on the areas that you want to focus.
Exactly.
Give where your strengths give, and then just keep plugging and playing. I love that.
More of a integration of ideas from the best people.
Mm-hmm.
I get so hopefully there are say few people around me. They give me ideas, and I'll put it together and bounce at them, and we then come up with a plan and execute them.
Love it. So stamps.com. I mean, it's just incredible, that story. Tell me about the creation of stamps.com and what happened with that.
Okay, it's actually started my thinking in the internet area. I came up with a patent application in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
92, internet is embryonic.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, even there. But I knew this is the digital world we are going to be. So, but it took me 4 years to get the patent. So I got the patent in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, that patent, I had three patents I got same time.
Mm-hmm.
These three patents are probably the foundation of all the e-commerce you see today. Just almost in every patent subsequently, people got in that space,
Mm-hmm.
market space, all refer to my because that's a
Thank
so
you.
like a that's a very because I saw it's happening, and this application, you can have many applications. The one of the applications happened to be the stamps application.
Mm-hmm.
In 1996, we formed the company. As a matter of fact, we formed the company sitting on this chair. Right now, I'm sitting.
I love that. That's so great.
That's the start of the journey, and of course, it's done fairly well.
Yeah, I would say so. All cash, billion, multi-billion-dollar deal sounds like a success. Now, did you enjoy this whole process? Was that something like has fed your soul?
Yes, you see, the one luck or privilege I have, I only do things I enjoy. That's one luxury. In fact, even my wife tells me. I mean, I don't know how many people can say that.
I love.
I certainly can. If I don't like it, I wouldn't touch it.
To me, that's success right there.
To really enjoy in such a way that I'm contributing and making myself happy, that this is the thing to do.
Yes.
I mean, that's a privilege a lot of people may not have, but I have had that right from the beginning.
Well, and I would say that has absolutely contributed to your insane success.
I mean, I believe in it because I always tell my children as well as even my grandchildren, I tell them, you should do what you like.
Yes.
If you do what you like, you will excel.
Yes. Yes.
If you do because somebody else is telling you to do, you hate it, or you may, and your performance will be bad, and your motivation will be bad. I mean, so I always advise everybody, pick what you like the best, then do it. Even if the remuneration or the return is not good, what is the return? The enjoyment is the most important return to me.
Yes. Oh, I applaud this. I completely 100% agree.
That's something I've been telling everybody I know, and I keep preaching that.
Yes. And
I've been invited to give a talk in June. I'm going to Oxford University at the said business school. I'm going to talk about some of my experiences. So this one of the things I will tell. I mean, these are some of the best students in the world will be there, and I'm going to tell them, do what you like.
Yes.
Don't do anything else.
Yes, I completely agree. And that's what I've learned from this podcast, talking to all of the people who are thriving. It's because they're focusing on the things that they like to do. They're focusing on the things they love to do. And because of that, they're able to persevere through any downtimes. They're able to get through the challenges and then come out on top because you love it. It's about the journey.
You call the shots.
Yes.
It happens.
Yes, I love it. So I'm curious, you've done so much. I mean, what is your personal definition of success?
I mean, success is not, in fact, I have given a talk on success and happiness.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
So what'd you come up with for your definition?
I'll tell you the reason is success is generally measured by people others think of success. It's
Right.
not your, they look at you, oh, this is success. So you're trying to impress on somebody else
Mhm.
is the success. And that's not, but I think our ultimate objective should be, are you happy doing? There are a
Yes.
lot of wealthy people very unhappy.
Very unhappy.
I
Mhm.
mean, and even very successful people could be unhappy.
Mhm.
Very, most of the time, the happy people are successful. The reason is whatever that success is to them, that happiness creates that.
Yes.
So the question comes: success is more important than happiness, or happiness is more important than which comes first?
Mhm.
Question comes. I think the objective should be you have to be happy to do whatever, and the success comes out of
Mhm.
it.
I completely agree.
That's my definition. I don't know whether that's the right definition. That's the way I look
Well,
at it.
and I believe what's important is knowing your own personal definition, because that's what it's about. If you don't know your own
Yes.
personal definition, you're living someone else's definition. So is that really success? That's
No, that is it. You have to have you define what success to you.
yes,
It's not
exactly.
for some third party. Somebody says, "Oh, this guy is successful." I mean, that does keep up with the Jones type of attitude, but I don't think that's the right.
Yeah.
Uh, you have to be happy yourself.
Yeah. What's your greatest success? I mean, what would you say has been one or two of your greatest successes?
I mean, I consider the most contribution I've made to the society is participation with GPS.
Mm. Oh,
is
I thank you every day. I didn't know I was, but every
every
day I thank you.
In fact, every human being, almost even in the remote parts of some real, you know, forest or deep, somewhere in the jungles, even there, GPS is there. I mean, people use, I mean, GPS has become the most used system as far as I know. So that I have played an important role,
Oh,
not just a small role. So
literally have saved lives.
that
Countless, countless, countless.
that I feel like that's my
Mhm.
contribution. I mean, I've created a lot of employment. I've created a lot of wealthy people. I've done all those, but those are good. But there is nothing to compare, uh, you know, that aspect.
Yes, the
Uh,
ultimate success is that you've
yeah,
helped an entire world.
it's more like I made a mark.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. What about the flip side of that question? What's been a time of your greatest difficulty or a great challenge? I mean, I like to say perceived failure. Tell us about it.
It's life is. I mean, that's in fact I wrote this book. The one of the criticism. This is the book, by the way. Uh,
The Autobiography of an Immigrant. Yes.
But the one criticism I have in this book, I mean, there are many criticisms, but one criticism is it, it's so all fairy tale type. I mean, it's all, optimistic, everything positive, most of the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I am.
Yes.
Even the reason, look at the pandemic. Pandemic is it killed a million American
Mhm.
people, several million people in the world. It's one of the worst experience probably most human beings have in the current
Yeah.
lifetime. But I look at there is some positive part in it.
I agree.
But for the pandemic, I could not have finished the book.
Yeah.
The book was long because I had the time because I used to travel a
Yes.
lot. I used to travel so much, but this 2.5 years or 2 years, I didn't travel at all, and that resulted in the publishing of book because I had to do something. So I kind of used my spare time to write the book.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of and I know many things, and like the Zoom,
Hmm.
what we are doing, or this communication and remote work. So a lot of positive things have come out of, and the technology has moved on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, many things have. Yeah. Even though there are a lot of negative things, a lot of people suffering
Hmm.
even now. COVID is still going, on. But for the criticism I have, I didn't talk about the struggles.
Hmm.
I mean, not that much.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about the failures
Hmm.
that much. Even though I touched on it. The journey I had, but of course, I look at it because of I come from place with no electricity, everything looks better.
Yes.
So in that sense, I have this positive attitude.
Yeah.
But it is extremely struggling. When you come to a foreign country and working with managers and they look at you a little differently. I mean, now, even though in California, there is, of course, when I came, there were less than 40,000 people of Indian origin
Wow.
at that time. Now there are close to 4 million. So,
Wow, that's really big.
but people wouldn't know, and they all think when people meet me first time when we talk about we are from India. Oh, that is interesting. So you're all snake charmers. This is what happened. I mean, their perception of India was so primitive.
Right.
But these are all changed.
Yeah.
The reason thing it's you have a very hard time to really culturally assimilate with the society at that time. But I managed those, but I didn't highlight on any of those things. Or also, look, in my one area, I did say, because of the time I came, the Vietnam War was going on.
Oh, yeah.
And the Vietnam War, being a graduate student, you cannot get occupational deferment. But I was working at that time after I finished my master's, not the PhD. I was doing PhD, but my master's, I was working with the North American Defense Command in Colorado Springs. But here, I used to travel. I used to go like twice a month to Colorado Springs.
Beautiful
in
area.
Colorado. I mean, that's where the Cheyenne Mountain,
Yeah.
I don't know, people may not know it. That's where our defense monitoring system to work with them. But because I was also a student, I became what I call 1A. The
Okay.
classification. 1A means you're ready to ship it to Vietnam. So I got this shipping orders because I took a test. They have a written exam and the in-person exam. But in-person exam, you pass. Written exam, I did fairly well. So they posted me not in the regular army. They posted me in the intelligence division, means beyond the enemy line. you go in. So that's where I'm supposed to go. So I got my marching orders to go in for the training. But since I was, thank God, since I was ready to go. In fact, I started.
Oh, I say thank God. You know what? I don't believe any human should have to ever go to war. I don't. Humans are not created to go to war, and I'm sorry for any human that has had to.
As an American, is resident, and I was obligated. I could have. Many of my friends went to Canada. Many of my friends went back to India. I mean, but I said no. Once I chose my home, I have a duty to serve.
It's very admirable.
To go meaning whatever the destination is, I will go and seek it. But just the day before I was supposed to report, I got a order from the 3-star general of it's called the Systems Command, that was responsible for North American Defense Command. They send a letter, you have an occupational deferment because we are more valuable here than in Vietnam. So that struggle, that was a very, very kind of I couldn't inform even my parents that.
That's mind blowing too to think about that.
So that was a major struggle in the sense. But it so happened I overcame not by going. I didn't need to go. So that was then subsequently, even when you work for big companies like NASA or DoD, the struggles you go through to get the results are extremely. We are working on very, very important missions. I mean, these are not like when you're ready to go, you take this Mars mission.
Really big deal.
When you came up with this new idea, how the hell no it will work? It doesn't work. So mental struggles, those are, but I didn't highlight the pain or the amount of hardships you have to go through to make these things happen.
Oh, that's
just the GPS, one of the things, because there are two survivability area.
Mm-hmm.
Threat to the signal.
Mm-hmm.
Signal itself can be eliminated. Then the ground systems could be bombed, because we were at those days we were what do we call the potential Soviet Union Cold War
Oh, yeah.
and nuclear exchange.
Yeah, I remember these days. Yeah.
So we had to do so all these technology related struggles are there.
Yeah.
Subsequently, when I started companies, like including the first one, Microsubstrates, or the other company, it's not easy. Especially take it stamps, for example. Stamp, I went and talked to at least 30 or 40 venture firms. Everybody liked the idea. I mean, really, they thought it's a great technology, it has a potential. But this is a binary thing. In order to be successful, you have to get a approval by the United States Postal Service. They are the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
If they say no, you're done.
out.
So it's either they will say yes or no. And most of the venture people said, USPS has not done anything for the last 100 years. They're not going to do this. So if you are developing a drug, because if FDA, they approve periodically drugs. So we can take the risk and go through. Here it's if you get the approval, come and talk to us.
I love this. People are telling you it's not going to happen, and you just went out and you're like, well, watch me.
I put my own money. Actually, I put almost $500,000 from my pocket, which is, this is days when I did not have much money at all. But without even telling my wife, I mean, because it's our money, because if she knew that, she would have said, hell no. But I did it because I had this confidence in
You
me.
knew.
I knew this is going to work.
Mm-hmm.
This is the right thing to do. And I mean, the reason I'm making all these, life is full of struggles.
Yeah.
But you have to make the decision based on your confidence, your desire to reach the destination.
Yes.
If you don't do it, nobody else will do it.
Right.
And if you doubt yourself, then don't do it.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. There isn't an internal knowing. When
Exactly.
there's something that is right, it just, you feel it.
And then, that's, you have to be in charge.
Yes.
You have to say that I'm going to go, and not that take chance. You make it happen.
Yes. Just
Between, okay, if it happens, if you want a chance and don't go to Las Vegas and do something. But if you want to do it, you have to have that determination that I'm going to be successful.
And you don't let people deter you by telling them because they tell you that you can't do it. I mean, I just think about that. If you had all those people tell you can't do it, what if you just stopped?
Say it won't work.
Yeah.
But of course, you don't have to. You have to make a decision. I always tell, a CEO makes decisions.
Yeah.
And when you make decisions, of course, you have to be based on the best information, the best judgment. You cannot make 100% of time right decision, but you still have to make decision. But in your best of abilities, you make decision and then make it. Hey, but sometimes you have to pivot and make changes going forward, but you have to take it forward.
Yeah. You talked about the mental struggle, and it actually was a little enlightening to me because it's something that I wasn't quite thinking about. But yes, through all of these programs that you were in and testing out these new products and ideas that you spent all these millions of dollars to go do. How did you deal with that mental struggle? I mean, when it just got to be that mental pressure, what did you do to help with yourself with that? Because look, a lot of people are dealing with mental pressure. Is there anything that worked for you?
Yeah, I think I make most of my decisions very calm and collected. I mean, I don't want to say that I meditate or I do yoga. No, those are terminology. In a way, there is some correlation to it. I kind of generally don't make any decisions abruptly. I make a certain decision, and meaning without really making it public, I sleep on it.
Smart.
I think about it. I mean, I'm not talking everyday thing. Crucial decision. Anything you have to do. I mean, this is maybe personal. While I sleep, some or other, some breakthrough happens and it gives me some clue.
Little
And that
insight.
that has happened to me a number of times. But it's just the brain is probably working. I don't know how the neurology or thing works, but it has happened to me. I mean, I've actually, even as a PhD student, when I was trying to solve problems and get the right thing, before you go to bed, I'll be struggling how to do, but I then go sleep on it. Next morning, I get a little bright idea, and
That's
it
great.
gives me the solution. So that has happened to me many times, and probably it happens to many people.
Well, and you can actually learn how to bring that more into your life. It's something called the Silva mindset method, and what you're describing is there's a whole method of learning and meditations that can actually help you create that in your life, so that at night when you go to bed and you think about that problem that you're dealing with, when you wake up, your mind is going through, and when you wake up, it comes up with the solution. So it's
Yeah,
really
I
interesting.
don't think I have got any training on that, or I did.
No, you
This
have it
is
naturally.
something I have had that
Yeah,
experience because this is not now. Even as a young student, I had a similar, because sometimes I will have a hard time with solving or whatever I'm doing. Then I sleep on it, and the next morning I get up. There is a little clue which will come, and then I go back and do it. It's done. So
it's so
that
great.
happened. I mean, I don't know whether you can train for it. I have not trained, but it has happened.
That's great. I'm curious, is out of all of the life lessons that you have learned throughout your life, what is the one that has brought you the most benefit that you think could benefit others as well?
I mean, life, I think the most important thing to me, being optimistic,
Right.
being positive.
Hmm.
Optimistic meaning not blind optimism. I mean, as I was just telling you about the pandemic, I see something good in everything. I
Yeah.
mean, I can't see much good in now what is happening in Ukraine. I feel very bad for the people and in what is the station going on. Even of course, go back and look at the history of the Second World War, the whole devastation. But I'm a student of Second World
Yeah.
War. By the way, I
Yeah.
study, read books.
I'm fascinated as well. Yeah.
I try to learn, but
Right. Because how could that happen? Right. Is that the same thing? It's like, yes.
may I don't know.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm bringing up is I see something positive, or some aspects of learning from this human
Right.
atrocities or human created devastation, but there is something good it can come out of
Yes.
it. So that's my, I think, lesson. You want to look at to make something better out of
Mhm.
whatever it.
I have to say that personal philosophy has been one of the key threads through the most thriving, happiest, successful people, and
Exactly.
it really is imperative, and it's just being able to look at whatever is in front of you, and yes, it's negative things. There's lots of negative things, but if you can find that gift hidden in there, or that silver lining. There are lots of different ways that people put it,
Yeah, I think what you just said is I honestly believe in it, and the human evolution and human success, or meaning better, is because of that reason.
Yes,
That-
yes. I completely agree. And that's why I like to ask people about their challenges or their perceived failures, their difficulties, because it really that's where so much of the beauty grows from, the whole lotus flower coming out of the dirt. I mean, all of the different things that we have to describe it. It's the beauty comes from those difficult moments, and it comes when we learn from them.
Exactly. And that does not mean that you don't appreciate or you don't recognize the sufferings and the hardship.
100%.
You have to know that, and then
Yes.
you make something better out of
Yes.
condition.
Yes, you have to
Yeah.
feel all those feels. You can't ignore, and you have to go. I mean, yeah, there's lots of pain in this world that we go through.
I mean, it is a pandemic is one example.
Yeah.
Most recent is this what is happening in Ukraine is
Yes.
another example. But that's part of the whole world. There's a lot of not so great
Yeah.
things. So, but at the same time, as a population, as a human being, there is. And right now we are going through this potential for this climate issue.
Oh, yeah.
We have to somehow or other go out of it. By the way, just to speak of, I have come up with it's not my own solution. I have written one section in the book about my solution to this climate problem.
I was just going to ask you, when you say climate change, like, come on, Mohan, do you have a solution for us? What do you got? What is it? You got something for us?
Mine is a space-related solution. I call a sunshade.
Okay.
The Earth atmosphere or space, there is a place called Lagrangian points. The Lagrangian points is where if you put something there, it follows the Sun-Earth relationship all the time. It's not a geostationary position,
Okay.
or it's not any other. I just want to give you that,
Yeah.
that if you can place a shade, so let's say you can place a shade, it covers the whole Earth. Then if you can place it, it will be always, it will be between Sun and Earth. Even the Earth rotates and the Sun moves, Earth moves around Sun and all. But it will be always there, like an umbrella. We take umbrella, we walk, always umbrella goes with you, right? Like that. But here I'm not talking about putting an umbrella per se. We can put a certain square miles cover, and you can even make it like a Lego thing, so you can adjust.
Fascinating.
You can select the region if you want to,
Yeah.
or even adjust. And so the real climate condition is because of the Earth radiation coming from the sun.
Yes. Yeah.
Even the carbon content and all.
Yeah, but this would be a solution.
So if I can put some way control the future temperature change, meaning not make it, you don't make it dark.
Yeah.
You can come through.
Yeah.
It is heat. So you can reflect it to somewhere else such that it doesn't go into the Earth atmosphere or Earth. So this is something, it's not my own.
Is this being discussed, or are you guys talking about all this stuff? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I have. It can be done with the current technology. It's not you need to come up with something really great. The only thing is you have to do, it will take some time and a lot of capital, because you have to first go to a Earth station, like a space station now. Then you have to launch everything to that altitude, that Lagrangian point, and you need a little bit of artificial intelligence to put everything together. But it can be all controlled from Earth.
Is the government working on this, or are you starting a new company?
I recommend that. In fact, it should be treated as a national security.
Yes.
The survival of the planet, of the country.
Yes.
Means you have to put. I would recommend our space air. We have a space force. Mm-hmm. The space force, or we can create a term called climate force, or whatever.
We need a climate force,
and bring highest minds of the country, even in the world, and pull it like our Manhattan Project.
Yeah.
When it was put together, what happened when we invented the first nuclear or moon project.
Yes.
So something similar, there should be a determination. We're going to do it. It shouldn't stop other things people are doing. Let them continue whatever. But this can be done. And the technology is
there.
This is what I put it in my book, by the way. I've been preaching this, but I don't have anybody taking that yet. Hopefully somebody will listen to it.
Oh, I hope somebody let's get
you can promote and say that, look, there is somebody who was interested and I could be a contributor to that. So this is something very current and something I believe it can be done, and it will solve the problem.
It's the first thing I've heard of that it could actually make a change soon and in time. Well,
it may take, if you start today, the earliest we can accomplish is about 10 years.
That's a lot sooner than anything else I've heard at this point.
Yeah, but you can achieve. The beauty of the solution is, if you do it right, you can manipulate it the way you want. If you want Minnesota or some cold countries, little more temperature in the winter months,
Oh, wow.
you can clean
I mean,
that.
that's a game. That's a complete and total game changer. Holy moly.
Yeah. It has a chance, but this is the solution I came up with. But nobody has done anything with it so far. But I hope somebody will listen to your
Yes,
show.
please.
This would be good. And I am, in fact, I suggested it should be a military or Air Force should take in
Yeah.
charge because it's a security issue. Because it's just like a Manhattan Project. I mean, they took in charge. And in fact, I happened to meet with the person contributed to the developing nuclear
Yeah.
bomb. But I'm saying it has some similarity to that.
Mhm.
That was more for a weapon system at the time of the Second World War, right?
Yeah.
You know, but this one is now we are in the middle of this crisis.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of time.
No,
by
we
the way.
don't. No, we need to make something needs to happen soon. So we need the solutions. We need people like you making some things happen.
Box idea.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not that I'm the only person. There are people, talking using space as a possibility. But this is I've really defined it much more like almost like a project.
Yeah.
But you need to take it and develop into an executable project. That takes more effort, but it can be done.
Yes. Yes. Please, people, let's get this rolling.
So you can help on it. That's the best thing coming out of this conversation.
Oh, it would be miraculous. Absolutely. So I'm curious because you clearly are very well educated. Have you ever read a book or watched a talk that had a really big impact on you that you think other people could benefit from as well?
Oh, there are a number of books. I have read these 3 books recently. Just that's why there is a book called Talking to Strangers.
Ooh. Oh, I bet that. Ooh, by Malcolm Gladwell. He's so good.
Yeah, this book is very interesting.
Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. Interesting. So really quick, before we go, thank you so much for taking your time. My last question, what are you sure of in life?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, I think everybody should try to be happy. And if you can accomplish that, that's the best thing you can.
Yes.
Happiness it's very subjective.
Mm-hmm.
It's not defined for, everybody the same thing.
Yeah.
But you need to reach a form of accomplishing something and make you happy.
Yeah.
That means you have a duty to contribute to the society.
Yes, you do.
Whatever that is. I mean, sometimes it's maybe small, sometimes maybe big, but you feel that you have done it.
Yeah, it's yours. What's inside you?
That's my, that's my way of thinking.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate Mohan. It has been wonderful. And for anyone to get in touch with you, I'll include a link to your bio and any other links that you want in the show notes as well.
Yes, anybody can get in touch with me. In fact, I can even share my email to you. It's very easy. If somebody wants to contact me, the easiest thing is mohanananda@gmail.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mohan. Wonderful.
Thanks, Jolie. So it's nice talking to you.
I loved talking with Mohan Ananda. What an incredible life already lived. For college, he moved from a remote village in India where there was no electricity to the US, a foreign country with a completely different culture, a completely different language. It was a huge transition. He went from being a very confident student to finding himself really struggling. It was hard for him to understand his professors and his classmates, and at times leading him to have difficulties in following the discussion. So what did Mohan think to himself? Did he think to himself, I'm just not cut out for this. What am I doing here? Maybe I should just give up and go home. No, he didn't. He thought to himself, I'm going to need to work harder. Yes to this mindset. I am just going to need to work harder. And this is the truth. To any goal you really want to reach, there will often be times where it feels like reaching that next step it's like it's in another language, and you just don't fully understand what it is that you need to do. And how often do we face these situations and think to ourselves, I'm not good enough. Oh, I can't do this. It's too much. And then give up. But here's the thing. You are good enough. You can do it. And it is not too much if it is something that you really want. Sometimes you just have to put your nose to the grindstone and just keep working harder. Here is the truth. Anything that is unfamiliar will feel uncomfortable. It will feel hard. And that's normal. That uncomfortable feeling, it doesn't mean that what you're doing is not right for you or that you're not right for it. It simply means that this is something new. It's something that you have to learn. It's something you have to keep trying harder and keep moving forward until that thing becomes familiar and becomes comfortable, which anything can, anything. When I first started this podcast, it took me months to release the first episode because I hated hearing my voice on the podcast. It was unfamiliar and it made me uncomfortable. But fast forward a few months into regular productions and all of a sudden I find myself wondering, could I be a voice actor? It's a really big difference, right? You have the power to turn any uncomfortable situation into a comfortable one simply by not giving up. So that is what Mohan does. He keeps trying, he keeps going on, and he becomes very familiar and comfortable at Caltech, thriving and learning a great deal. So much so that he then works for the likes of the Department of Defense and NASA, where he is involved with inventions that have impacted each and every one of our lives. He found the interplanetary dimensions. He created patents that are the foundation of our e-commerce marketplace. And this is the man who invented the GPS. I can't even. When I think about the impact of that GPS invention, it's absolutely overwhelming. Just personally, to calculate how much time, heartache, and fear that GPS has saved me in my own personal life, it is astounding. Let alone the impact globally and the amount of lives it has literally saved every year. Amazing. All because in that struggling moment, in a new school, in a new country, with a new language, Mohan did not give up. He just thought, I'll have to work harder. And now we can all thank Mohan for the positive impact he has made on all of our lives. Seriously, Mohan, from the depths of my soul, thank you. Now, after working for the government, Mohan spent years working within the corporate world before breaking out as an entrepreneur himself. And he readily admits to having a couple of stumbles as an entrepreneur where he learned valuable lessons before finding that success. And since finding that initial success, Mohan has replicated the process over and over. He starts the company with a strong concept, he finds a talented team, he makes sure the right capital is in place, and then he allows that talent to do what they do best. And then he does what he does best, which is mentoring the team and focusing on new, exciting possibilities. He has created success after success. Again, with his stamps.com business selling for $6.6 billion. How did he have such a great success? Mohan only does things that he enjoys. If he does not like it, he does not touch it. And for him, that equals success. He He knows that if he does what he likes, if he is contributing in a way that makes him happy, then whatever he does, he will excel. He has learned that when you do something because someone else is telling you to do it, often your motivation is bad. Your performance is weak. The important lesson he learned is that it is all about the enjoyment. Because when you are doing something you like, it is much easier to persevere through the challenges and come out on top. It is all about the journey. So I ask you, are you enjoying your journey? If not, what is something that you can do to make your journey more enjoyable? Now, another key to Mohan's success was believing in himself and listening to himself. With Stamps.com, he talked to all kinds of venture capitalists, and they all told him they did not think that this was going to work. No one believed it would be successful. No one was willing to invest because of the high risk. But Mohan had confidence in himself and in his idea. He did not listen to what other people had to say. He listened to himself, and he invested in himself. Instead of watching others to see what he should do, he said, "Why don't you watch me?" And then he went out and he did exactly what he set out to do. He had that internal knowing and he honored it. You must take charge of your own desires. Listen to that knowing inside and take responsibility for making your goals happen. Again, Mohan was told this idea would not work. If he had not believed in himself, if he had not had that confidence to move forward and invest in his own idea, he never would have created Stamps.com. He never would have experienced such a massive financial milestone. Do you listen to yourself? Or do you let others talk you out of the things that you want to do? What kind of magic could you create in your own life if you did honor that voice within? I urge you to find out. I appreciated that Mohan shared that he does not make decisions abruptly. He sleeps on it. He thinks about it. He takes his time to ponder and wonder. He has found that often when he is dealing with a problem, by sleeping on it, a solution would come to him in the morning. His brain having worked on the issue while he slept. Mohan is using his natural intuition. This is a great practice to get into, and anyone can develop their intuition to gain insight while you sleep. It is one of the processes taught in the Silva Ultramind system. There's a variety of methods and mindsets that help activate the limitless potential of our minds. The concept behind problem solving while asleep follows a few very simple steps. First, meditate. Get yourself into a calm, grounded, centered state. Then visualize the problem you have. Now remember, intention is very powerful, so you set your intentions and you state mentally that you need advice or a solution to your problem and that you will dream of the solution. You state that to yourself mentally and you trust that it will happen. Now, when you wake up, immediately write down everything that you remember that comes to mind, and you must do this right away as you will forget within minutes. If you do not find the answers you seek, try again. Successful dream programming takes patience. But once you put this into practice, it will become easier in the future. You can gain valuable information for your life through this simple exercise. Your answers, they lie inside of you. Take the time to listen. I wonder if Mohan's solution for climate change came to him in a dream. Wherever it came from, it sounds brilliant and like a viable solution that actually might work in time to help make a difference. If there is anyone listening and has connections to anybody who could do something about this climate change idea, please pass the information or this podcast along so that the right groups can begin working on this potential solution. Please, we all need to do whatever we can to move us forward with potential solutions to this global tragedy. Now, finally, I loved what Mohan shared was most important to him and his success. Being positive and optimistic. For Mohan, the best thing that you can do in life is to try and find something good in everything. There is learning from every situation. His personal method is to look at whatever is in front of him and find that silver lining. How can he make this better? What good can he find in all the darkness? And this is a universal truth. This is one of the keys to living your best life. It is being able to look and to find that gift amongst the ugly wrapping paper. Human success and evolution comes from this, from looking for the good, from looking for the learning. We must take the time to learn from every situation that we are faced with. Learning, it's why we are here. And trust me on this, a lesson will be repeated until it is learned over and over again. As Mohan said, suffering and hardships, they will arrive in our lives without our choice. You can't ignore it. You must go through it. But you do get to make your own choices. You get to choose where to put your focus. You get to choose to look for the good. So that's my wish for us all, that regardless of what life brings your way, you consistently look for the good, choosing to put your focus on the things that lift you up, and that you find the hope, the learning, the joy, and the possibility in every situation. Until next time. Thank you for joining us on Fresh Blood. Please subscribe and follow us on all streaming services, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Player FM. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Fresh Blood Podcast. I would love your help in spreading these stories and important messages. Please give us a like and share with a friend. Your help is greatly appreciated. I hope you make today a most fulfilling day.